Hey guys, just a quick live. Elijah's just woken up as well, and it's his ninning settle time in the middle of the night. So I just did a live, and I got a phone call from one of the parents, also a friend. And as I was at the window, there was two police officers coming in and trying to get in the front door, and it agitated me immediately because I panicked and I was like, shit, there's police here. No social worker present, which was a good thing about that, just two police officers. So anyway, I decided to call down to the police officers. I went, you're not here for me, are you? And she went, you didn't call the police, did you? I said, no. But anyway, I was on the phone to my friend at the time, and I then said to my friend, shit, like the police are outside and I need to confirm that like they're not coming up to my door, because police turn up at any time, and children get taken through the night. Do you know what I mean? They don't get taken very often through the day. It's usually done very quietly through the night or very loudly. And basically, I'd had a brief conversation sort of with the police, but via the phone call with my friend, to say, like, let's hope you're not here for me, because otherwise, and I did actually said to the police, I said, let's hope you're not here for me, mate. I said, because otherwise I need to get my live ready at the door and start getting ready to barricade you to not coming in. Any of you, please step to my kids, you know, over my dead body. Having this conversation with them, and also having this conversation with Mark. But then I said, isn't it a shame that I don't feel safe with the police outside here right now, that I feel scared because the police are here? Isn't it sad that we, the people in Great Britain now, have come to a point where police presence doesn't make people feel safe and protected? Police presence makes people worried about corruption, what's going to happen. And to parents that understand how children are removed, living here with police, you don't know where they're going. And it's really difficult. And also I feel very stuck, because say there was a knock on my door now and it was for me, and they were acting on this out of calls, and it has gone through the system and it's now arrived at the police, because that's what happens. Out of calls then rings the police. They turn up when they can turn up. So they decide they need to speak to me. One, I've got to let them come in through my front door. I got a pile of ironing and clothes to sort out there. I got a load of stuff that's for sale there. I got a bit of a chaotic desk there. I've still got washing up on the side, and the bits that I got out of the bread bin that are all on the side. The kids' bedroom straight, that's fine. The hallway straight, that's fine. Oh, there's a couple of bikes in the hallway. The bathroom straight, that's fine. It's clean, it's tidy. It's just, it's over cluttered because it's a 1-bedroom flat. When police come into a property, the first thing they do is scour all that stuff. Social workers check your food, things like that, nappies, milk, baby's needs, appropriate stuff. One thing that's really scary with the police turning up is if they've had paperwork from a third-party person that influences something that changes their perception on you, and they pull a child protection order. Here lies what I'm trying to talk about. How do you protect your family and your children when two police officers walk up to you with either an order from the courts, or because they call child protection there and then, and they decide to have to take your child from you? If you know that they are removing your child from you with no cause, unlawful and unnecessary, what does a mum or dad do? So a police officer knocks on your door and says, we're here to remove your child. Hey kids, where's your socks? Where's your shoes? How many pairs of shoes would you like to take with you? Have you got enough clothes? Let's get you a stuff pack. Whee! Free childcare. I'm off on holiday. Or do you fight nail and tooth? Now, like I'd said, if an ununiformed person knocked on my door and said, banged in through my door, robbed my home, took my children, I'd be all over the news tomorrow that my kids had been kidnapped. But people are turning up with false information, derogatory allegations, just worded legalese that paints very different pictures, that create a situation that removes a child. And it's painful, it's horrible, it's abusive. I'm going to remove my hand just a minute. I'm not doing it because I know there's people out there that go, show boob, show boob. What I'm doing right now is completely natural. Yes, my son is 3. Obviously, as you know, he was a removed child. Breastfeeding was a big part of it because the moment I gave birth to Shiloh, Elijah went straight back on, and he ain't giving up Ninin right now. Dean did say to me at the beginning he would like me to feed the kids till they were 5. That giving me nightmares. But could you imagine this little boy who's laying very naturally and very peacefully on his mum? There's been a call that's gone through to out of hours over the weekend. So literally tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning, literally where I'm going to be going tomorrow. And I'll know whether they're going up to the courts tomorrow because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there from 10 o'clock tomorrow. And I'm going to be ringing and finding out what's going on. I'm going to be ringing and saying, had a phone call over the weekend, was a bit shocked. My reaction to it was obviously need to understand what you're doing, what's going on. Because officially they can say, Mum refused to speak to her. I said to her, not refusing, I'm just telling you facts. So do you have anything else to say to me? She said, no. I said, okay, so fantastic, put the phone down. Now, the way the system works right now, 2 police officers, 2 social workers would have to come to my door and they would have to bring child protection to remove my son from me. Or they now have to throw me into legal planning to do an investigation under a section 17 or a section 47. I can't remember. Section 7 is sexual offences. I think section 17, can't remember which ones they are, or section 47. So they would have to now pull one of those for a reason to talk about me. So what will happen now is the out of calls person would have got the call. They will then now refer that over to the normal team. It'll probably go over to the account. They'll probably find Lauren because Lauren's been involved with me quite a lot. Then they'll have a look at all my records. Then they'll go through stuff. Then they'll decide whether or not they want to come and have a chat with me. Then with that, they then got 72 hours to write one particular report. And then they have to write another report within 14 days or 21 days. So basically they have to come out, meet me, see things, do all their checks, do everything. And then they have to write a report on whether or not it goes to legal planning or whether or not it goes to court. Then they have to put it in the courts and then it goes to trial. And then it's either to make an order or not make an order. Bless him. I remember watching a video of a mum not that long ago sitting in with the police with her son in her arms, waiting for him to be removed. A couple of years, a year older. He just turned me to see his head. No one's touching my kids, mate. I can promise you that. Kill them first. I'd have no choice. But like I've said, if 2 police officers and 2 social workers stepped through my door and I went bang, 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 I'd be surrounded by police and he'd be taken from me anyway. There's nothing I could do about it. Unless I was one of the Krays. But, you know, he's beautiful. For any person to separate, be it the father, be it the courts, to take this away. And also from his father, There's other people out there that think he's a deadbeat dad. Dean's an artist rebuilding his career. I always knew that Dean was going to be living the life that he's living, and I could be if we didn't have kids out there with him. If I had Shiloh's passport, we'd be out there with him. If I wasn't fighting for Aaron and Faith, I'd be out there with him. If I wasn't running FEA, I'd be out there with him. I told you, a lot of people made the decision to leave. I chose to stay because I am the director of Step Up Britain. I made my vow, hence I'm here. I don't know what the future holds for Dean, but there is not one person in the world. I don't care whether Dean knocks on that door in 2 weeks, whether he knocks on that door in 2 months, 2 years. That door will still be open for him to see his kids. I will never, ever, ever deny the kids their father, ever. Unless a child is being physically, sexually, or emotionally abused and needs protecting, there is no reason whatsoever for any police officers to be removing babies. There's another mum pregnant facing the removal, been told it's going to be an instant removal because she's already got one up for forced adoption. Her daughter is at home with her because she's a teenager. They've got Malachi. Malachi's gone for forced adoption. She's still seeing him. But that baby's going to be removed from her womb the way things stand at right now. If our network don't come together hard and fast for this final time, it is the new start of a whole new government, a whole new parliament. If we do not get it in there, making it very clear that their policies and processes are affecting families because of false information being shared with social workers, be it by a neighbour, somebody on the streets, an interfering busybody, somebody trying to cause harm in your life. It may just be that two couples, and we don't have family therapy in this country in a way where couples can be helped through adversary. You know, we don't have these structures in place because everything comes through domestic violence. Now, we do hear in Portsmouth are doing so well, guys, probably because there's an ass-kicking woman here, but Portsmouth are doing really well. I say the same thing. If you go to a festival, what do you see? Adoption, fostering tents. Where's the family support tent? I'm going for the Big O2 Arena. I will announce that one of the people who is helping is going to be Geldof. I don't know where the land lies, but I happen to know his daughter's ex, and Graham is very linked in with all of this stuff. They're even talking to Ozzy Osbourne at the moment because we're having a bit of a laugh with Ozzy Osbourne that he can't produce any more music because he doesn't like new technology and he's still with all the old technology. So there's a chance that all this is going to connect up quite well in the next 18 months. But this film that we're putting together at the moment for the snooker is potentially going to make us a minimum of 50,000 straight away. And then I'm going to be on royalties for that on 10% for the rest of my life anyway. And a lot of the stuff that we're getting out the flat is going to potentially make quite a bit of money. And then I'm helping Graham with his estate from his family, because don't forget, I've said he's Lord. His father and mother are lords and ladies. He's an aristocrat that's crashed right into a Roberts Centre here in Somerstown of all places. Do you know what I mean? And he was the BBC producer for the snooker, the director of the filming. So these connections and these people that are helping out, hopefully we will get this O2 Arena. And I basically want to raise all of the funds that supports families. So they can't say they don't have a budget. We're going to privately fundraise for this money to basically put this pot of money to go to social services and say, we can help this amount of families now who needs helping. And that's what I want to do. That's the legacy I want to leave for my kids. So good thing is my friend Marcus sent me 20 quid. So tomorrow morning is not going to be a problem now, other than the fact that I've got to get from here across there and to the shop without my children weeing or pooing, and getting the nappies onto them. And that's going to be funny. And then tomorrow morning I'm going to be over at the courts. Now, literally, as Andrew gets here tomorrow, I'm going to be kicking this off with all my Portsmouth messages to be pulling all the Portsmouth families in. And I'm going to be literally, when Don't Hate, Fill Your Plate are serving on a Saturday, I'm going to be on the other side on a Saturday. So hopefully I will have by this time all my PA system. I need to build the funding for my PA system now. I need it. It's a must. And I'm going to keep coming, and I'm going to keep being out every Saturday outside the town hall on the mic, pulling in all of the families and pulling everything in. So hopefully I can get some help with that. Hopefully some of this stuff is going to go up for sale, and if I make this £5,000 that I'm hoping to make in a couple of weeks, if it comes together, and if I sell this car, because it's not my car, it's a work car that I'm flipping over for another one, and then if things come together, and hopefully it does before this week, because don't forget I'm facing eviction this week as well as social this week and everything else this week, and I still don't have a Word document. I haven't managed I can't download anything on this laptop. This laptop is fucked. My phone is completely fucked. I'll show you if you can see it. I don't know what you can see on a phone, but if you have a look, like even if I just look at my Facebook, you'll see that it's all on download again. So if you see that little cloud in the bottom of everything, none of my apps are on. All my apps have gone. So I won't be able to do any lives tomorrow. I'll be lucky if I can even take any photographs. It's got another text from the journalist. Oh, that's a text from earlier from him. So this is just a phone communication. I must ring a few people back, because I rang Nick from XR here in Portsmouth and the Yellow Jackets just to say that I need some bodies tomorrow. I know Andrew usually just comes in, serves the paper and goes on to his next thing. He's been doing this for a long time, but the fact that he's walking to Portsmouth is God-given. So I need to be pulling in Portsmouth Yellow Jackets headquarter division, which is here in Portsmouth, of course it is, and of course here is XR. Well, Brighton is main division, but secondary is here in Portsmouth. So hopefully I will have a few people, because I'm going to be in quite a vulnerable situation tomorrow, because I'm going to be across there. If you have a look at the map, you'll see the motorway that runs between, which is what the road that XR walked down. So it literally runs out the front here. You've got the police, you've got a roundabout just outside the front of my house. You've got the police station on one side of it. And then next to that, you've got the magistrates' courts. Next to that, you've got the, what's it called? Where is it? Crime Prosecution Service, CPS. CPS. So the CPS office is there. And then literally across the way, and I want to get hold of my friends tomorrow. The problem is I can't PM anybody on it, but he's a free runner, and I want to come and see if he'll come and do a couple of things for me tomorrow. But I'm going to grow this anyway, because I'm going to go all the way through with calling everybody in and getting some people off the streets and doing all my winter preps anyway. So I'm getting back to Kelly, who Kelly is, what Kelly does, what I'm about. So I've always worked with street homelessness anyway. I've always been part of street pastures and all that sort of stuff. I just was a bit of a rogue street pasture, do you know what I mean? I've always worked within youth. I've always worked within foster care. I've always worked within social care. I've always coached and mentored. A lot of people have always had problems with me, because I could have been a six-figure rather than a pro bono coach, do you know what I mean? So, but I know the bigger picture that I'm looking at. So anyway, it was a short, quick live just to sort of say that, you know, we have every right to defend ourselves from false allegations against us. But when the consequence of that false allegation warrants for children to be taken from the breast, taken from the arms of their mothers, taken from the wings of their fathers. Look, like I've just been on the phone to my friend Mark, and he's beaten, mate. He's beaten. He hasn't seen his daughter. He's had his contact stopped. He's got lots of people making allegations. He's been on the phone crying. I know Mark, because I lived at Save the Family with Mark and Jane. They were in the house. I was in the cottage. I actually have spoken on my lives about what happened after Aaron and Faith were taken, when the same social worker came on site 2 days later to then come for another baby, and I hid the mother and the baby in my flat on Save the Family. and then met Mark and pretty much prevented Alicia being taken back then in Christmas in 2012. Unfortunately, social workers have been backwards and forwards in. Yes, mother does drink. Yes, mother has had her battles. But again, you're dealing with two people who've been through the system with sexual, physical, emotional abuse. And I'm allowed to talk about this stuff, so it's fine. So again, you know, we do need to deal with people's trauma. I'm hoping that things come together. I'm hoping my life comes together with Dean. I'm hoping Dean is going to be the person that MCs and open it. Why not? He's a foster care runaway from 2 sexual attempts, and everybody else got raped in the care homes, and he kept bolting out the window and has pretty much lived on the streets since he was 13. So hence why I'm far more patient with Dean. Don't hate him. Don't try and understand him. He's trying his best. He's I don't know, he could be a complete fuckwit. He could have fucked me off, but when he unblocked me this morning, and when you know, the boys spoke to their dad, you know, you can hear that it's really difficult for him because he's never actually had any of the baby mamas actually allow him to have contact with the kids. So, and they've never made that effort. And I think he's learning that I'm not like that. So why should the police and why should social services, while families are going through some form of adversary, some form of healing, why should they be coming in and basically causing a further car wreck? We've lost another father. In fact, we've lost another 3 fathers in the last 2 weeks. Another 3 fathers have taken their lives that I know of. And that's just the ones that I know of. I'm not connected to every single person. I used to be, but I've had Amber clear up and delete people out and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, I was just saying before I finished, there's been 2 police officers outside, and I'm just talking about how it makes me feel, being that tomorrow I'm going to be walking through the biggest storm of my life this week, because I'm literally facing 2 paths before me. The one that I'm working on like mad, hoping to God that there's going to be this bridge that helps me through this gap, and I close this gap. If not, this week I'm potentially facing losing my boys and my home again. And the saddest thing about it is it's not my fault again. Paying for the mistakes of undereducated, underfunded, under-resourced, pay scale, misunderstandings that people will never understand what it's like to live with EDS unless you have it. I got dead feet right now, and I'm going to get off this live, and I've got to get off the sofa with Elijah in my hands, and I've somehow got, in fact, I'll probably even show you before I do, I've got a Sublux foot underneath us at the moment, so it's going to be very numb. And the chances are I'm going to put my foot down on the floor and it's going to buckle underneath me. I'm used to it. I've lived with it for many years. But unfortunately, it puts somebody like me in a bit of a challenge. And now, obviously, you know, I've allowed the girls and Elijah and Shiloh to go out of my eye reach, and I've ended up with social now back on out of hours. I said to you before, I'm not paranoid. I live in a goldfish bowl. One false move in the wrong direction, be it a fuck up, be it a simple mistake, be it a natural order, be it somebody else, the consequences of somebody else, they have me. I can't eat shit or fart without somebody knowing something. Even yesterday, right? Another alcoholic. I quite like him, actually. I've been getting used to sort of seeing him and saying, quickly, you just stand with the car. I've left the bottle upstairs. And he'll go, no, don't leave me with the kids. And I'll go, I've got no choice. I either got to leave them in the car now while I run upstairs and get the bottles. I've left it up, or I've got to leave them with you. She's like, don't do this to me again. It's like, just stand there and just stick sober and just let me quickly run upstairs. I've only ever done it twice, but I saw him the other day and he went, your car. Said I crushed it the other day. So my Ford Focus that I had before that went to scraps, bless its cotton souls, God rest it, is either going to become a Heinz Beans thing, or it's going to become a Mercedes Benz, who knows. But isn't it, that's how intertwined my community is, that my car gets sold by somebody over in Gosport, and then back here my neighbour who works at the crushing has actually crushed my car. But the good thing about it is he's gone through the whole experience of oil leaking out from my car and going, hey, you got oil down there, you know. That's how we first met. And so he actually then went and bought a cheap runaway car after my car got crushed. So he's actually sober because he's driving again. So he's sobering himself up as well. So that's really good. And he hasn't driven for 7 years. So, you know, but the problem is tomorrow from the courts of justice, well, it's actually called the courts of justice. In fact, he's going to have a shock when he comes here tomorrow, because he's not going to realise the significance of him putting his paperwork in tomorrow. Yes, grace to the Lord. And frequency's just changed. Then you've got a bridge that goes up and over it, and you'll see the clock tower, and then literally to the right you've got the whole civic hall that goes around to the town hall. And from the 4th floor, social services can see me. So if I'm there with my kids and there's the main road and I do what I do, if any of my children move in opposite directions, they're stood at the window watching me. That's how bad it is. That's the situation I'm in. That's the lion's den that I'm in, which is why I need to be efficient, hard, fast, strong. I really do need to get some proper childcare now. I would love the boys to have, you know, like, I don't know, maybe like a 21, 22, maybe 16, 17, you know, sort of like football playing, skateboarding, more a mentor, less a childminder, more a mentor. I'd love for Shiloh to have, in fact, we met a skateboarder today, and my friend knows a professional skateboarder, and one of my friends actually knows Tony Hawk's network. So, you know, I'd love for Shiloh to have somebody that goes and takes him skateboarding and snowboarding and all that sort of stuff, where I can be there, but I don't have to be hands-on, so I can get some work done at the time. And for Elijah to, you know, it would be lovely for him to be around Daniel, his brother, really, because he's got the tractors, he's got the diggers, he's got the farms, and that's what he likes at the moment. So, but anyway, the fact is that a lot of us are going through adversity, and rather than that being used against us, it should be nurtured, it should be loved, it should be Mark's just come on. So literally this live was, I was just talking about being on and the 2 police officers being outside in the conversation and how it felt, and why we have to stand up to this system. Because at the end of the day, if somebody makes a false allegation against you, the problem is if they make a report to social, it's done anonymously. So there's no accountability on these people. I could literally right now pick up my phone wherever it is and go, hello, social services. There's a mum, and I've just seen this and stuff like that. No, I don't want to leave my name and stuff like that. So anyway, all of a sudden they get this phone call and they've got to prove it's not true. So the problem is, if you can't prove it's not true, you can't then go back to the person to sort it out. If an outsider presents information to social workers, don't hate or blame the social workers. It's the person that made the referral to them. They are just following the protocol and process, doing their job. If a social worker presents false information to a police officer, like in my situation with Aaron and Faith, so the difficulty that I had, it was being over at the washroom, talking to Helen and saying, like, I'd slipped my dad's discs, it was my dad's birthday, I was having a bit of a challenge. Elijah was wanting the Xbox and playing out, and all I said was, I don't want to end up hurting my kids. You know, I don't want to pick them up wrong because of EDS and all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, it's gone from being them then speaking to this line manager, and all I was talking about was moving my indicative budget over from Leyland and getting the 24 hours notice for going to A&E. I was talking about practical things, changing the sofa over, changing my bed over, because I had a bed that had a dodgy leg like that and it was tilting my pelvis, and I had a sofa that was like 18th fucking century that was hurting my neck, and I didn't have all my proper stuff. And sorry to do it again, Mark, but Mark can confirm the football pitch was closed down. I got done for getting everybody together, for fucking getting all the debris and all the things off. I got done. I got an eviction fucking notice because it was against health and safety. They weren't going to do it. There was nobody else. So I got a team together and we went and cleaned the field. I got told off. You know, and again, it's all hearsay. Everybody remembers Chinese whispers. What you got to remember is, doesn't matter if it's an outsider, an insider. They ring up, they make a call, someone writes a note. That then gets handed over to the secretary of that person. He then lets that person know that then it goes around. You know full well that once that's past 3 people, the information has changed. It's been proven. It's fact, Chinese whispers. And I'm going to beat these bastards in Supreme Court, proving how their whole system is working on Chinese whispers. And what it's doing is it's creating false information, and families are being devastated with unlawful and unnecessary removals. You've got to talk in their language. When you say kidnap, when you say stolen, when you say these things, you've got to bring that in later. They ain't ready for this shit now. You've got to bring it down to a level right now. Then you open the can of worms. So anyway, at the end of the day, if police officers knock on my door, I should feel safe. I don't feel safe. I feel scared. I was on the phone to Mark. My leg was shaking. It's very lucky I was on the phone to Mark, because I may not have actually interacted and found out what was going on, because I would have been on my own. And I'd have probably have sat in this flat after doing a live, sitting wondering, is the door going? Is the door going? Is it going to ring in a minute? Are they coming in? Hang on, how long have they been? I would have been listening to the lift. I would have probably have gone to my door and double checked. If I'd seen it had come from 2, I'd have slammed, put the locks on, put the back. I've got 3 batteries that sit by the front of my door and 6 sticks, and I've already worked out how 3 batteries go in the front of my door, how the sticks go across and jam across it. I can't get out my window. I close the window, and all I can do is then come on live and hope to God somebody out there cares enough to all start ringing and coming in and going, leave her alone. You know, come on, this is another mistake. This is harassment. Like, leave her alone, for God's sake. And that's pretty much all I can do. As I said to the police who come to the door to ask me to stand down for the D-Day thing with Donald Trump. Oh, bless, I'm going to have to go. I've got no more. Last thing, I'm going to have to go. Hello. That's what I mean about being in a 1-bedroom flat. They can hear me. So anyway, before I get done by social for 2 kids being up at 2 o'clock in the morning and realising they've actually just woken up, I'm going to go and get these kids to sleep again. So remember, don't hate, fill your plate. My plate's full enough right now. So I'll see you all at 10 o'clock in the morning. I won't be able to go live, but hopefully Andrew will be, and hopefully I might be able to join him on his live. So I'll see you in the morning at Portsmouth Courts.